Yo guys, what is going on? It is Burt Crown Idiot coming at you with a different video today. Today we are going to be talking about one in particular stat. I figure I'll go over all the important stats we care about in hockey: speed, acceleration, face-off shots, hits, stuff like that. But today we're going to stick with just one stat, and we're going to start with the fastest because I think that's the one people care about the most, but we will cover a bunch of other stats. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the stats of players that I feel like are realistically obtainable. I'm going to include everything, team of the years, anything in any stat. What I am not going to include is fantasy. If they're a fantasy card, I will not include them in the stat category because chances are they're impossible to get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the stats, and I'm going to start with speed today. I'll do another stat, maybe acceleration, shooting, face off, something in the next video we do with stat trackers. So, stat trackers. Who are the fastest players in Hockey Ultimate Team today? Sometimes I feel like it's good to stay caught up with everything going on. It's easy to forget about people, and it's easy for things to go, sideways. You get caught up with one in particular card, you get caught up with in particular people, and you maybe forget there's faster cards than what you're using. And I think it's time to go over that today. First of all, I will say the two fastest players in this game right now are 99 speed, and those are the fantasy Anthony Cirelli, and the fantasy Colton Parayko. I am not going to include them because, like I said, they're probably like 3 million if you can even find them. I feel like anybody that has those two cards, they're not selling them if they're sellable. So moving past those, who is the fastest player in HUT without any synergies, without any boost, just the fastest player in HUT? And that will come down to the Dylan Larkin card. Dylan Larkin has 96 speed. He is currently the fastest player in HUT. Everybody can obtain him just by playing the game. So he's a great one to bring up. Now, he doesn't have a synergy that boosts his speed, and maybe on this list we will get into players that get above him. But for now, no synergies. Dylan Larkin is your fastest player. When it comes to the second fastest player, it's going to bounce around between this card, this Connor McDavid card, and, well, of course, this Connor McDavid card, giving us 3 Connor McDavid cards that have 95 speed. And, well, let's not leave out this Connor McDavid card, who also has 95 speed with his X Factor, but we're going to go back to one that I like the most. And that's going to be the Frozen Forces Connor McDavid. He is 89 overall. He is the lowest overall out of all the Connor McDavids on this list, and he was the easiest to obtain. So most people probably have him if you participated in the Frozen Forces event, and by now you have probably turned him into Team of the Year Connor McDavid because he'll upgrade for you for free. But this Connor McDavid is the second fastest card in the game, which is fun to say because he's not even the highest overall Connor McDavid. So that being said, Dylan Larkin, Connor McDavid, who could have seen that coming? Now, with that being said, the next fastest player on the list is another fantasy card. It is Fantasy Connor Garland, which again, I'm not going to bring up because he's probably a ridiculously expensive card if you can even find or buy him. So, next on the list after Connor Garland, came as a little bit of a surprise to me, is 94 speed Jordan Kyrou. Honestly, that did legitimately surprise me a little bit. But Jordan Kyrou is the next fastest player on the list with 95 speed, and he's got good shooting to couple with it. And then next, we're going to get into the defensive side of things with Quinn Hughes, 94 overall speed, and this will be the last card for a little bit that is not a aggressive Team of the Year run. So there's going to be a lot of Team of the Year cards, but Quinn Hughes, 94 speed, star of the month. And then the next is going to just be an aggressive run of 94 overall speed Team of the Year players. So we're not doing this in any particular order, but 94 overall speed coming at Taylor Heisey. No speed boost, so the 94 is where she stays. And the regular Taylor Heisey is in here as well with the 94 speed. If you didn't have the 87s to build the full ultimate, you could still get this card and have one of the fastest cards in the game. And then Nikita Kucherov's Team of the Year comes in right after with another 94 speed, and no speed boost on this one either, leaving him at the 94 speed. And again, of course, his Team of the Year base, MSP, whatever we want to call it, is also up there with the 94 speed, making that a viable option if you only had 587s. And we might as well keep this going with 94 speed Nathan MacKinnon, again not having speed boost, and again his MSP version, if that's what we're calling it, is also 94 speed. And of course, because Star of the Month, Quinn Hughes had 94 speed, we know this Quinn Hughes is going to have 94 speed. No speed boost on this Quinn Hughes, but again, his base has 94 speed as well. And finally getting to the last 94 speed in Team of the Year. Thank goodness, we'll move on. But Cale Makar and Cale Makar's base MSP for 587s also has 94 MSP speed. No speed boost on Cale Makar, so he will stay at the 94 speed. Moving out of Team of the Year, though, I mean, after we talk about Megan Keller's 94 overall card, which is wild that she only has 94 overall speed, but Megan Keller also has 94 speed. Now, for the good ones, and ones that potentially won't cost you an arm and a leg, Taylor Hall coming in with 94 speed on his transaction card, 89 overall. Good shooting. We might see this card again as he does have 99 wrist shot accuracy. Getting back to Frozen Forces, even though Frozen Forces wasn't a most recent event, it was a long ago event, they're still dropping cards for it, which is good for us. Frozen Forces, Kendall Coyne, I keep wanting to add the Schofield. Kendall Coyne is a 94 speed. If you didn't know, there's a viable option, and her card is relatively cheap. So if you're looking for really, really cheap speed at a really, really high overall, this card's worth a look. Because when I say cheap, I mean she is literally like 20% cheaper than the NHL player 89 overalls. Actually, all the PWHL cards are like 10, 15K cheaper than the NHL 89 overalls. Something to keep in mind if you want to make a quick buck when the 89s are turned into sets for MSPs. 94 overall speed, Kendall. And then getting out of 94 overall speed, we're going into 93 speed now, and that is with Joe Sakic, Gallery of the Greats MSP. Maybe he's still relatively decent to buy if you can, but I think he's going to hold value because the Gallery of the Greats had 0 AP cost, so that's something to keep an eye out for. He might be a little more expensive, but that would be why. 93 is still a great speed right now, and Joe Sakic hits that. So 93 Joe Sakic, still a top card if you didn't know for speed. And one that pretty much everybody said to build back when next gen MSPs came out, and we seen this Matthew Barzal. Everybody pretty much recommended build the Matthew Barzal because he'd be on your team forever because he's a right-handed 93 speed player. And that's still viable now. He's still a player that is top of the leaderboard for speed, and to be honest with you, there is only a handful of righties with more speed than him. So if you built this card, you still have one of the fastest right-handed wingers in the game. And he's still on most people's teams. Now, the 2000 event wasn't the most popular because Gallery of the Greats was so good, and Team of the Year came right after it, and we all knew Team of the Year was coming after it. So 2000 event wasn't really done that much because people were saving for Team of the Year, and they just spent a ton on Gallery of the Greats for the free MSP, or the free AP. So the Gallery of the Greats was overlooked a lot. But inside that Gallery of the Greats event, we have Milan Hajduk, which has 93 speed, still one of the fastest players in the game. So he was a great thing to come out of the 2000 event. Are you looking for a speedy defenseman that could be at a relatively decent price? Maybe under 100K? Gallery of the Greats, Bobby Orr does come with 93 speed, good shooting. This card is a great offensive defenseman option if you're trying to keep cheap and stay fast. He's worth a look, in my opinion, as he's a really good card and really fast. And I am going to finish with one that's an 88 overall because it's a relatively cheap, and it might have flown under the radar because the 2000s event was overlooked so heavily. Teemu Selanne at 93 speed is still one of the fastest players in the game. So if you need a quick, cheap winger, this may be the player for you. And then I'm going to bring this card up just in case anybody forgot and you are really down bad for coins, or you're just starting the game and you're looking for speed that you can get for very cheap. Not to overlook the 85 Connor McDavid base card. Yes, this card came out at the start of the game with 92 speed, and yes, 92 speed is still in the top of the leaderboard for speed in this game. Remember, excluding fantasy cards, the fastest card is 96 overall, Dylan Larkin. Then we got one at 95, we got a handful at 94, and a couple at 93. And then it is Connor McDavid's base card at 92 speed. So don't overlook this 85 overall card, as he is still one of the quickest. And if you needed to couple like an 88 Teemu Selanne with an 85 Connor McDavid, you're still doing pretty good with some speed on your top pairing. And then get Dylan Larkin for center just by playing the game. That would be a nasty cheap line. A free Larkin, a cheap McDavid, and a cheap Teemu Selanne. You'd be looking pretty good at that point. But guys, I just wanted to go over some of the quickest cards in the game to, keep up with the stat tracking and see what we've got. Next week, I'm going to do this exact same thing. You let me know in the comment section down below if you like this, if you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And put in the comment section down below what stat you care about the most. And maybe that one will make next week's video. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. And until next time, ciao, ciao.